When popular culture tells us how to handle a broken heart, the instructions are usually pretty consistent. You retreat to a dark room, put on a pair of headphones, and listen to the saddest acoustic guitar track you can find. We're taught that grief requires isolation. The prescribed remedy is quiet reflection, giving yourself time alone to process the loss internally until the pain eventually fades. But in modern Punjabi party culture, processing a breakup doesn't happen in a quiet bedroom. It happens by popping the trunk on a public street. This brings us to the cultural artifact at the center of our investigation, the hit song Three Peg by Sherry Mon. If you look closely at the lyrics, the text deals with legitimate emotional pain. The narrator explicitly acknowledges the deep sting left by an ex-girlfriend who walked away. Yet absolutely nothing about the sound of the record suggests sadness. Instead of a mournful ballad, the production is an aggressive, high-energy, victorious anthem. Beneath the bass line, Three Peg provides a specific strategy. It demonstrates how to weaponize communal, unapologetic joy against the isolation of individual heartbreak. The first pillar of this strategy is the yar, or the brotherhood. The text insists that the immediate antidote to rejection is bringing the sorrow directly to your closest friends. The sting of losing a partner is instantly recontextualized. The lyrics focus entirely on the immense value of platonic bonds, treating male friendship as a wealth that replaces romantic loss. Next comes the venue. Notably, the instructions completely bypass the exclusive guest lists and velvet ropes of traditional nightclubs. The chorus repeats the core directive: pour exactly 3 drinks and open up the back of the vehicle. The open car trunk operates as a decentralized mobile club. It gives the group the immediate power to claim space and start a party anywhere they choose to park. Beside that open trunk, the song demands a physical response. The lyrics emphasize performing high-energy bhangra, a traditional folk dance that visually captures this massive release of joy. The specific atmospheric requirements are carefully detailed. They keep bottles tucked safely under the seats, while the heavy speakers blast the record with a mandatory desi touch. There is even a lyric about selling off an old bullet motorcycle to buy a car. This marks a shift away from solitary rides, prioritizing a vehicle that can fit the whole crew. By combining the safety of the brotherhood with the mobility of the car club, any random stretch of public road is transformed into a private fortress for emotional recovery. The third pillar relies on a shield of bravado. Because heartbreak inherently damages the ego, the response is to project immense physical confidence. The song lays out strict rules of engagement for the crew. The lyrics state clearly that they never start fights, but they are also completely unafraid of them. The consequences for any rivals who dare to give them dirty looks are highly specific. The song promises the immediate threat of exactly 3 slaps to the ear. Which leads us to a logistical question: the global lifeline. Who is actually funding this extravagant, decentralized street party? The track reveals the answer in its climax. The narrator gives explicit shout-outs to friends living in the United States and Canada, directly asking them to sponsor the alcohol. With a single lyric, the scale of the narrative shifts. What started on a hyper-local street corner in Punjab is suddenly plugged into a massive global network. This line points to a very real history. The Punjabi Canadian diaspora is highly organized and multi-generational, providing long-standing structural and financial support to those back home. That same infrastructure extends through the American diaspora. Together, these groups form a dual pillar of North American financial backing that maintains these emotional connections across borders. So a coping mechanism that appears incredibly localized is actually underwritten by a vast transnational economy of brotherhood. If you listen through to the final chorus, you notice a distinct structural change. The ex-girlfriend and the initial pain of the breakup have completely vanished from the narrative. The song leaves us in an entirely new state. The grief is gone, replaced by an atmosphere of unbothered grandiosity and collective victory. This reflects a specific approach to resilience. In this context, emotional vulnerability is not something to be handled in isolation. It is an issue that gets outsourced to the group. The ultimate paradox of the record is that the romantic heartbreak was never the actual focus of the story. It was merely the necessary catalyst needed to activate this global network of friendship. Resilience does not always require silence and time. Sometimes the most effective way to process an individual loss is through loud, unapologetic, communal celebration.